to Mindset Transformations Radio Show with your host, Coach Myrna. Do you feel the need to do more with your life? Are limiting beliefs holding you back from true success? Enjoy a unique blend of interviews, discussions, and transformation coaching in every show. Get the tools for success. The Mindset Transformation Radio Show with your host, Coach Myrna.
Welcome to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and today we have a special guest, Miss Aireka Harvell. She is an entrepreneur and motivational speaker, and she is going to be talking to us today on the topic, how finding the beauty in your now will set up your tomorrow. Welcome, Aireka, to the Mindset Transformation Show. I am so happy that you are on the show and will be imparting your knowledge to my audience. Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very honored. Very honored.
All right. Now, did I butcher your name, or is that the correct way to say it?
Most people do butcher it. My mom was trying to do something extra special there, I guess. But it's the same way that it's spelled is Aireka, so it's Aireka. So.
Aireka. All right, good. So,
yeah.
All right. So I was just a little off. I said air. Yeah, so Aireka. All right, so that's almost like an E then sounding, so I remember that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So, Aireka, welcome to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show. Honored that you would be a guest on the show. Most of my audience are women, so I'm glad that we have something specifically for them today. Now, in keeping with the theme of my show, I normally like to give a tip of the week that comes directly from me, either something I wrote myself or something that I want to share. And today I want to share this conversation that I took from the University of Success book with the author Og Mandino. The University of Success book is one of the top books that you can ever read. It is an awesome book. So if you haven't picked it up yet, then you should probably go and get it. It's got to be one of the books that you must read, along with Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Millionaire Next Door, and The Conversation with God, and all those other ones. So this conversation is the author is making a point by having someone speak to God, who is our maker and our creator, in a similar way of a manufacturer of a toy that had like a purpose. So here goes. God, tell me, what is your purpose down there on earth? Man, well, I want to work hard and not hurt anyone. I want to get along with folks and just stay out of trouble. God, what about your talents? Man, well, what talents I have, and they're not much, I take good care of. I kind of pace myself, No, God shouted. Your answers are all wrong. Don't you remember the story of the talents? Man, yeah, I think so. You give each of them 3 men different set of talents. To one man, you give 5 talents. To the other man, you give 2 talents. And to the third, you give but 1 talent. That's right, God said. And some years later, I checked up with these 3 men, and I was pleased to find that the man with the 5 talents had multiplied his talents by working hard and applying each one. The man whom I gave the 2 talents also labored hard and multiplied them. But when I checked with the man I had only given 1 talent, I became very angry, because that man had buried his talent in the name of protecting it. To which I cursed him, saying, Thou wicked and slothful servant, how dare you not use the gifts I gave you? You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I scattered no seed. Did you not get that part of the parable? Man, yes, I think so. I think I'm to use the talents you give me and multiply them to help others. God, let me ask you another question. Who is in charge of your life? Man, I'm responsible for my life with a few exceptions. I mean, sometimes you just don't get the breaks, Sometimes things just don't go your way. But that's the way the ball bounces. or the cookie crumbles? God jumped your feet. No, no, no. When will you learn? You are totally responsible for your life. No exceptions. You are totally responsible for the results you obtain. Not your mother, not your father, not your boss. It's not the brakes that control your life. It's you. Don't ever say that's the way the ball bounces, that's the way the cookie crumbles. You must bounce your own ball. Man. Okay, I think I see. The fact is that I've been put on earth to succeed. I have an obligation, a responsibility to use my abilities to the fullest. I must control my life, for it wasn't to be led. I prefer excellence to mediocrity. I wouldn't prevent my own success, for all success requires that I am here, that I use my talents to the world and not wait for the world to come to me. And I will act now, no matter how convenient waiting might seem, no matter how imperfect might be the results I obtain. Tears welled up in God's eyes, and a smile creased his face. God said, "Thou wonderful and faithful servant, take all the love and energy and talent you have and share it. Share it with all you meet until it seems you have no more to give. There will always be more and more in reserve. Your potential extends beyond your wildest imaginations. The only limitations you will ever face will be those you place on yourself." So that ends my tip of the week. So I hope you run out and buy that book, University of Success by Og Mandino. It has so many nuggets. And the reason I read that is because we're going to be talking a bit today about your now, being in the present, the law of attraction. And you must realize that you are in control of your own destiny. It's nobody else's. You create your world. So what do you think about that, Aireka?
I absolutely love that. While you were reading, I had to write down the name of that book because I am going to go get it, actually download it as soon as we hang up, because that is exactly the type of conversation that I had last night with two young ladies. Exactly.
Are you kidding? Wow.
Yeah, yes.
You're giving me chills. It's really awesome. Yeah, that was powerful energy. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I read a lot, and like I said, that was one of the books. That was one of the top 10 books that anybody should read, and I particularly like that particular little expert from it there. All right, guys, so we are after a great start. Let me tell you a little bit more about Miss Aireka Harvell, entrepreneur and motivational speaker who focuses on transforming the minds and lives of women. She is passionate about helping women who suffer from mental anguish, low self-esteem, self-hatred, and lack of recognizing their worth and value in their life. Her goal is to help women heal from the hurt of their past by finding the beauty in their now. She believes the beauty of now is the point of all power that unlocks healing, growth, strength, peace, desires, success, and happiness. She has overcome and allowed herself to be healed of the wreckage the past experiences have caused in her life. She claims that her healing began when God put in her heart to start writing the B.That Woman blog. Since her miraculous transformation, she has become a young entrepreneur and has recently founded That Place Advertising, LLC. She also encourages and promotes female entrepreneurship and offers daily motivation and support through her social media platforms. Aireka grew up in church as the oldest daughter of a pastor and missionary. She was constantly told as a young girl that she would do great things as the mouthpiece for God. She's now accepting her purpose in life and is currently working on her first book titled The Beauty of Now, which will be available on Amazon this fall. Her goals are to travel the world and to tell her story of how she stopped letting her past dictate a life of sadness and dissatisfaction, to finding the beauty of her present and living a life full of power. Well, awesome bio. Like I said to you in our conversations, we are talking the same language. We're in the same space. And that's why I called the show the Mindset Transformation Radio Show. So welcome. It is a place for men and women come for empowerment and inspiration. So we're going to have a great conversation today. All right. Yes, so let's dive right in. You had a lot of tantalizing tidbits in your biography, and I would love to hear the backstory on that. So can you share with my audience, you speak of being healed of the wreckage of your past experience. Can you expand on that a little and tell us how you came to this point in your life?
Absolutely, I would love to. I actually, this Sunday, shared the very beginning of what started the whirlwind of disasters from my childhood on through early adulthood on my blog in a blog post titled Change Your Circumstances by Speaking a New Message, because I feel that we create our lives by the messages that we're told throughout our lives, even as a child. So as a 9-year-old little girl, I went over to a church member's house after church to have a play date with their daughter. And I overheard the mother telling her son, who I had a little crush on, not to like me because I was, not to like my little sister because she was yellow and pretty, but to like me because I was brown and ugly. And ugly girls would treat you better. And as a 9-year-old, no, and it tore me up, yes. But that started, a belief in myself that I wasn't pretty. And I went all the way through, And it for a long time, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my mom because it was embarrassing and it hurt, to hear an adult that I looked up to. That, we were taught as kids to respect our elders. We were never taught that sometimes our elders are wrong and they may do things that's not smart. So at that time, with me being a 9-year-old and I'm looking up to this woman and I hear her say something like that, I take her word as gold. And so I started telling myself, I'm sorry?
I said that always happens, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I started telling myself, that I was going to be extra nice, extra lovable, so someone would love me because I didn't have the look. So basically, I was going to be beautiful on the inside if I couldn't be beautiful on the outside. And so that created low self-esteem within myself. When I started I never did the dating thing. I didn't have boyfriends. I didn't go to the prom. Although I was a cheerleader, I did things like that, but I never allowed myself to date. And I was kind of, picked on in school or whatever. But when I finally met my husband, everything was okay in the beginning, and then it turned into a whole whirlwind of I never wanted you in the first place. You forced yourself on me, just like mental abuse. It's what I went through. And then mental turned into physical. And I allowed a lot of it because I didn't know that I was actually worth something. I was still thinking in my head that I deserved this because I'm not pretty. And, it was really, really bad. Even on to the point to where after we got divorced, I finally got the strength to leave. One morning, a fight happened, and, I saw my kids. And they saw me and their dad wrestling and tussling, and they felt they had to jump in and defend me. And that was when I said, it's over. You've got to go. I battled with the decision to divorce because I was also taught as a kid that divorce is wrong. And so I felt like God was going to punish me. My life is just going to be a living, if I got divorced. But at that point, I had to decide something's got to happen. This is not how he wants me to live. And so even after the divorce, things kept happening. I kept wondering why things kept happening between me and him and just horrible things. And I was never even contacting him. I tried my best to stay out of his life and allowed him to be with the kids. But things just kept happening, and I kept wondering why. And then this one thing happened a while ago that almost killed me. And when I say almost killed me, it almost killed me emotionally because I was emotionally done. One or two things was going to happen. I was either going to die because I was just over it. I was, taking care of 4 kids by myself, and back-to-back things just happening, and I couldn't see the light of day. I felt like I was walking around in just straight darkness, even though I had a great job. I had graduated college. I got my bachelor's degree as a single mom. So good things were happening to me, but because where my mind was, I couldn't see it. And so I was walking around in, complete darkness. And when this last thing happened, I looked up and I said, what is it that you want me to do with this? Because it was either or. It was either this is it, or I'm going to rise. It was one of the two. And that's when I was sitting on my stairs, and that's when God gave me Be That Woman. And he said, basically, to find beauty and show women that we are resilient and we can bounce back. We go through things in life, and it doesn't have to kill us. One thing that I feel like is that we are, as women, we're actually stronger than men. And I know a lot of men probably don't like to hear that, but when I think about how we are, when I think about how we're made, one morning before I was about to write my blog, because I write on Sunday mornings, the Spirit was just basically saying to me, think about how you're made. Think about how you're made. Look at how you're made. And so I started to research. And, men were made from the dirt and the dust, but we were made from something stronger. We were made from, the rib of man, which is strong. And the rib could be cracked or bruised, and with time, it bounces back and goes back to its original state. And that's, as a woman, that's how we are. That's what our makeup is. Even when we have our children, our bodies stretch out and we go back. With our hearts and our minds, we get hurt and we turn right back around and love again. And that's just how we are. And so what brought me to this point, when I looked up and he basically gave me, what my purpose is. I've gone through everything that I've gone through in life because now I can honestly say I'm still alive. And when I thought that I was going to die, when I didn't want to go on anymore, there were times when I looked at my kids and they were the only thing that kept me here because it was just that bad. And it doesn't have to get to that point. And I feel like with us keeping our minds in the past and focusing on what happened to us in the past, then we have that fear of what's going to happen in the future because we don't know because we've been through so much in the past. We can't see the beauty that's happening right then and now. I couldn't really take care of my kids and enjoy them the way that I do now. It's just like my children are spoiled. Don't get me wrong. They have almost everything that they want. But I wasn't really enjoying them because they saw mommy sad and crying all the time. And what woke me up, my daughter said, both of my daughters came to me and she said, we had started looking up signs of depression. And I didn't even know that they were seeing me like that, because I try to hide it from them, but they know when something isn't right. And that's when I said, okay, enough is enough. And so I put myself through a mindset boot camp. I started reading a lot of books, praying. I started meditating. It's one of the best things that I've ever done because it basically taught me how to really pray. Meditation, and since I started meditating, I feel like I can communicate with God more and correctly, and I'm learning so much. I mean, it's amazing how I got to where I am now, and I don't plan on going back any further.
Well, I am so much into direction and understanding how God works. And, I invited you on the show, and like I said to you, I wasn't quite sure what I saw that prompted me to invite you on the show. But your story is powerful. In fact, it's a great follow-up to a story that is actually aired this week on my program. And this woman came to me from her publisher. She wrote a book because she's all the way from Australia. And she wrote a book regarding, being gang raped and lacking confidence, and someone telling her that that no good man would ever want her, that she's trash because she had a baby from the rape, and she had to give up the baby. But her story is a little different to yours because her husband is what gave her back her confidence and gave her back as he loved her. And then she actually had to start over again because he died. So, I mean, this is what this show is all about. It is about giving hope and encouragement to anybody that's listening, because we all have our dark places. And just as you're saying that you have 4 beautiful children and a good job, but you couldn't enjoy life because of the darkness that was in your mind and in your head. And the reason that you're seeing the light now is because you're connecting to the source. And the source is the truth, right? The source is beauty. And, meditation is so powerful. The crazy thing about it, and I was going to mention this at the end of my show, but this is a good point to bring it in. I started meditating after I went onto Oprah's masterclass, and that's when she had her book club and all that. So that's years ago. This gentleman by the name of Eckhart Tolle wrote this book, Be Here Now. Have you read that?
No, I haven't.
Right. It's one of the most powerful books on the present and about meditating, and it's called Be Here Now. And that is your message, to be in the now. Yes, and Oprah had a master class where this gentleman came on and, taught millions of people around the world. And all you did is tune in for free. And that's when I started meditating. And I do it now every morning. And what has allowed me to do, when you talk about meditation, what meditation allows you to do is to find peace. And the byproduct of it is that people no longer have the power over you, because you're connecting to the light that's your source. So that is beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story. The great thing about sharing stories is that it means that you've come out that dark place and you're now into the butterfly world, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, you've gone through the cocoon of the dark places and you're in the butterfly world, and now you can help people that are still in that cocoon, in that dark place, to let them know that there's light, there's beauty. In fact, that's actually a pretty good metaphor for you, beauty. You're talking about beauty of the now, the beauty of the butterfly, the beauty of coming through, the darkness and get into the light. Beautiful. Awesome. All right. Well, a great and wonderful start to our show. So let me take a quick station break, and we'll be right back to talk to Miss Aireka regarding how you can find your beauty in your now. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you are listening to this broadcast, it means that you are hungry for growth, hungry for change, hungry for insights, revelation, and knowledge. Whatever you need in your life, you will receive it today. For the past 20 years, Myrna has been an entrepreneur. As past CEO of Royal Livery Limousine Service and now CEO of MyHelp's Coaching and Consulting Services, Myrna has achieved good success. Awarded Entrepreneur of the Year, Myrna knows what it takes to help you be successful. Myrna helps her coaching clients to design a practical plan to close the gap of where they are today and where they would like to be tomorrow. In business, relationships, health, or career goals. That is why Myrna is offering a free 1-hour strategy session valued at $150, totally free. No strings attached. If you are listening right now, go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us and sign up now for a free session with Coach Myrna. She has helped business owners and other clients just like you overcome their obstacles and set them on a path to success. Take advantage of this offer today. Go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us right now.
Welcome back to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and today we are speaking to a wonderful entrepreneur, motivational speaker who was able to share her personal story with us of how she came through the darkness, starting from when she was 9 years old until now. It's been a long journey for her, mother of 4 children, and physically and mentally abused by her husband. But now she is on a mission to help women to find the beauty in the now, not fearful of the future and forgetting their past. So my first question for you is, what do you mean when you say to find the beauty in your now?
I was thinking about, somebody asked me that question yesterday, and I was thinking it's kind of like being one-track minded, if I had to put a definition on it. And so you want to gain mind control to where when you start to feel emotions of fear of the future or depression of the past or anxiety, you want to be able to control your mind to where you can bring those emotions under subjection, and basically think about what it is that you're doing or living right then at the moment and focus on that. And what I've learned is that there's always an opportunity in your present moment to either learn or an opportunity to grow. For instance, today, before the call, my Yahoo email, I'm always on my phone because I have, engagement with the followers on social media and running my business through email. Yahoo decides to shut my email down today. And I could feel the anxiety starting to come in because I'm like, I have the recording today, I have this to do, but at the end of the day, what can I do if Yahoo says, hey, you're sending too many emails, I'm going to shut you down for a second? What can I do? The only thing I can do is deal with what's going on right then at the moment and then look for an opportunity. And that's where the idea came and say, let me DM her on Instagram. So if I had allowed my emotions to spiral out of control and my thoughts to start thinking about what if I miss the call, or thinking about how Yahoo had said we put a hold on your account, that's already happened. And if I allow my mind to rest on that, I wouldn't have gotten the intuition the inspiration to send you a message on Instagram, so that I feel like just being one-track minded and focusing on what's happening now and what you can control on, and that's so peaceful. The level of peace that you get when you realize that, hey, I'm going to focus right here. I'm one-track minded. I'm focusing on what's in front of me. It's so peaceful, and that's why I said I'm not going back because it's so much peace.
Well, when you just talked, when you said that a minute ago, like I said, we're going to have great energy because I got goosebumps on that, because there's a whole bunch of more things that happen right there. One, let's tell the story correctly. One, your email got shut down. When I record the show, I normally turn off my cell phone because I don't want my cell phone ringing when I'm recording a show. So I picked up my phone to do that. And then I have notification on my phone, so I see a message from you. So then I say, I was just about to shut off my phone, and you say, well, are we talking Eastern Standard Time or Central Time? And I says, no, Eastern. So there's a whole bunch of things that happened to make this happen, because this message needs to go out. This message is powerful. This message is sent by God. And it has somebody that's listening needs to hear it. And all these circumstances came in to make it happen. So then I say, no, I'm on the call. Can you jump on? And you said, sure. Because an hour later, I wouldn't have been able to do it because of other things that I am committed to. So this is perfect. But what I want to jump in on that is that is what happens when you meditate. You are no longer controlled by the outside world. Sure, it's going to happen for a brief moment because we're human, but we're not going to linger there, which is what I talk about lingering. I write a lot of blogs myself, and one of my most powerful blogs is called ANTS, Automatic Negative Thoughts. And when you allow those negative thoughts to control you and to spiral you to the bottom, because that's what they do, right? They come back and they feed, right? But if it comes in, you acknowledge it, and then you just let them go or send them back, then it's not going to spiral you down. Because, look what you're saying. If you are gotten bent out of shape, right, that means you wouldn't have been able to think properly. Then, I would have been sitting here waiting for you to come on the recording, and I would have said she's a no-show. But you're very right? Being able to handle stress and to be able to handle anything that the enemy throws at you, because that's who's throwing it, right? The enemy throws at you because you are in that, you're connected, you're in the peace mode. So, very good. So, awesome. So I like what you say about bringing your mind under subjection, right, because we are in control. And I see now how that so ties in to my conversation, my tip of the week, when, God says, no, you are in control. Nobody else is in control. You are. You know what I mean? And that is so true, because everybody wants to play the playing game.
Yes, absolutely. That's why when you were reading that, I got chills, because it's one of the main things, like, and I don't know if it's okay if I tell this quick story real quick.
Of course.
My dad passed away. He was killed by a drunk driver in 2010. And I was so angry with God. I was angry because my dad, he had a vision. He was always talking about the vision that God gave him of 3,000. And the night that he passed away, let me back up a little bit. He had told everybody that he was getting ready to die. And the night before he passed away, he told me he was getting ready to pass away, and he said, "I need you to be strong." He said, because he talking about my husband. He said he doesn't hit you now, but he's gonna knock you upside your head when I leave. And I kind of rolled my eyes, like, oh my God, he doesn't know what he's talking about. And then the call died, the phone call dropped, and I didn't call him back because I was like, he's talking straight nonsense. But so the next day he passed away. He got killed by a drunk driver. And I was so angry at God. I didn't understand it. And I looked up at the sky, and I said, well, what about the vision? How can you give him a vision and then take him? And it wasn't until probably 4 months ago that he showed me that he didn't take the vision away. God my dad rewrote. He rewrote, because my brother is actually running the church now, so it is transferred. But my dad rewrote his destiny. He rewrote his destiny because he started telling everybody that he was getting ready to go. He stood up in church that Sunday and told
Sounds like Martin Luther King. That's connection to God. When you know when you're going to go. That's awesome.
And yes, and my dad, he had a heart after God. He was a man after God's own heart, but he was tired of the way things were going in the church. And that's a whole other conversation. Where people say they want what God has, but they actually don't. And that's a whole nother conversation. But he was tired. And he stood up in church, and he said, something is about to happen that's going to knock all of y'all off y'all feet. Like, he basically told them that. And then that Wednesday night, he told after Bible study, he told all the leaders to go home. Told all the saints to go home and told the leaders to stay. And he said, get in your cars, don't stand outside talking, get in your cars and go home. And he had all the missionaries, deacons, ministers, everybody stay after church, and he handed them jobs to do. And he said, keep the saints together because I'm about to leave.
Oh, wow.
And then that Friday night, he gave my mom
story.
Yes. He started giving my mom the insurance policies, telling her how to, claim his pension and stuff like that. And but what God basically showed me is that he didn't take the vision away from my dad. My dad created a new destiny. He basically started speaking, as it were, that he was about to go home, go on to glory. And he started activating. He activated it by passing out assignments, giving my mom instructions on how to get the insurance, giving me instructions on how to take care of myself, and I didn't listen. So he activated it and created his own destiny, as we do with our minds, And so, after he passed away,
but not too many of us know when we're going to go, though.
Right.
So that's an amazing connection to the source, right? Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially since he wasn't sick or anything. That's a random act. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's what
that should have renewed. I understand a lot of people are mad with God when they lose loved ones, but if you knew that your dad predicted his death, that should have increased your connection to God, because then you know that he was talking to God. So, or I guess you can see it because of your pain, right?
Because of my pain, I was that angry. But the reason why I told the story is because I was at a gas station one day, and this guy walks up to me and he says, "Do you love God more than your dad? Do you love your dad more than God?" And I'm looking at him like, what? And he said, "God wants to know, do you love your dad more than him? Because you're not doing anything with your talent." And he gave me Matthew, I think it's 25:5, to that particular verse to read. And I read it, and I was still angry. I mean, I literally did not get the healing that I needed as far as my dad until probably recently, probably about, I would say 5 or 6 months ago. And he died in 2006. And I was that angry. My dad was really like my best friend, but I literally had shut almost everything off. Everything was happening in my life. I couldn't see it. And as you stated earlier, I wasn't connected to the source. I wasn't allowing myself either to be connected to the source. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you have come a long way.
Yeah.
And that's basically, I mean, you can even carry on your dad's mission. The vision never dies. Yeah, it never dies. It can just transfer it,
Right.
Okay, yeah, so awesome. Love your stories. Now, I like the fact that you connected the now to the future with the law of attraction. So tell us about that. I mean, I think I know where you're going with it, but let me, tell our audience, what you mean by activating the law of attraction with your now.
So basically, we all know the law of attraction says that we attract whatever we think, right? And so it just goes back to not letting your mind focus on the past. If you remember me saying earlier that I allowed my mind to constantly think about what had happened to me, how people have treated me, and I just kept getting more and more of it, and I didn't know why. And it was because that's where my mind was resting all day, and I was basically telling my mind and telling, hey, give me more. And that's why it kept coming. And honestly, since I started meditating, I haven't had any issues. It's been awesome. It's amazing. I don't have any issues in that department anymore.
Well, it's like I told you that we are going to have an awesome conversation because we're in the same space. Now, one of the people that I follow pretty religiously is Abraham Hicks, and we started off by I started off my learning about talking about meditation, and I'm very big on the law of attraction. What you think about, you bring about. But Abraham Hicks takes it a bit further. She talks about what's in your vortex and what is your energy field. And it made me understand that when you feel bad, that's what you attract, or bad things. So what she does is to let you know that every single day when you meditate, actually, what you're doing is that you're activating your good thoughts, good feelings, because when you feel good, you activate more good things. And whenever you feel bad, that's exactly what you do. You activate and you draw more bad things to you. So I walk around now making myself feel good. And when there's things that come around that doesn't make me feel good, then I work very hard to get rid of it. And, I told you I did a couple of recordings this morning, and the guy that I recorded with, he's a big Abraham Hicks fan, and I said to him, well, because, I have this thing with the IRS that is making me feel really bad. And I said, I have to get rid of that because, the IRS, gosh. And I have to work really hard to not make me feel bad about that situation. But I said to him, I need to get rid of that. So.
Right. And that's what one of the girls asked. She said, well, what about if there is actually fear in your now life? And basically you just have to realize that where your mind, you attract what you're thinking, right? And so if you visualize yourself in that situation with the IRS, visualize that situation is handled, right? And then you attract the energy that gives you the inspiration to get that handled. I've had issues with the IRS, as well, and there was nothing that I could do about it. When income tax came, it was paid. I didn't let it spiral me out of control, and I don't know what yours is, but I'm not letting it spiral me out of control, but it's not something I can handle. And it's there, and I want it to go away. And, I don't operate in fear. The very first time I got the letter in the mail, I had to work very hard not to be fearful, and I'm no longer fearful. But, it's beyond my ability to handle it, so I have to have someone else handle it for me. And I want it to go away. And, of course, I'm activating my vortex where I'm sending it positive energy that it would not only go away but work out to my benefit. Right. Yes, exactly.
But think about it. There can't be no worse thing than having this big IRS big thing over your head, or somebody put a note on your door that says your house is going to be foreclosed on, or any of the big things. It's not where your child is fighting in school, or your husband is making you upset. Those are little things. There's some big things that come around that really scare the heck out of you. And you can spiral out of control if you don't know how to put your mind right. And you're very right. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, being a single mother of 4, I don't always have the money that I need to take care of them. At the moment, as a new entrepreneur, I put almost everything that I have into creating Know That Place advertising, and then also building up B.That Woman, which takes away from what I normally would give to the kids. And so they have extracurricular activities, And so what I basically said is I put it on the shelf. It's on the shelf, not that it's gone. It's on the shelf, and when it comes into my now, by that time, by it being on the shelf and me, like you said, activating that positive energy, I will have already found or been inspired to find an answer for it. There's been times where I picture, like I said, we don't get any type of support from anyone else. I make pretty good money to where I can't get any type of support. But sometimes there's money needed for certain things. And I don't worry about it. Every time money comes, and I've always been blessed to receive money. I've never had to worry about it because it just comes. Something just happens and it comes.
Good for you. And you know what? That's faith. And you're probably a tither. If you came from a pastoral family, you understand about tithing and giving and things like that. So, that is never an issue with me because you know what? The same here. This show that I do it totally on my time and totally for free, but God is funding it. And he funds it through my real estate investments and, the real estate. And I say that to him because I heard that in a service once, and I accepted it, that whatever your vision is, God will fund it. And you just have to believe that. You just have to believe it, and it will happen. So, awesome. All right. So, what does your now look like, and how are you using it to create your tomorrow?
So basically, right now, my now looks like talking to you. I focus on exactly what I'm doing at the moment.
Well,
so,
you're also bringing energy to your business because you're promoting it. But go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, my goal, my mission is to help as many women as possible realize that you don't have to live this life of sadness. You don't have to be okay with putting yourself on the back burner while you make sure and work hard that everyone else around you is happy, okay, and succeeding. And then you live this life of nurturing to everyone else and forgetting yourself. And then you wake up, when you're 30, 40, and 50 years old, and you're like, what in the heck did I do? Why am I so sad? There was a lady that wrote in on Instagram, and she said, I have my husband, I have my kids. She said, my husband has a great job. The kids do extracurricular activities. She said, but I don't know why I'm so sad. I'm just not happy. And I was able to tell her, baby, you're not happy because you've just basically ignored yourself. You're saying everybody else has these things. What do you have? And she said, well, I've always wanted to open a ballet school. And, well, then do that, because that's not going to go away. Yeah, it's not going to go away until you do it. And so, I that's my goal. So I feel like right now, in the now, what I'm doing is talking to you and getting the message out that God has given me to give and living my purpose.
Oh, that is so beautiful. That is very beautiful. And, you will be rewarded, because whenever you go and you do something selfless where you're only wanting to help other people, then God actually, helps you by financial blessings. But when you make financial blessings your goal, then you actually never get it. You chase it all the time and you never get it. So that, again, is another secret. So, all right, so let's take a quick station break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
If you are listening to this broadcast, it means that you are hungry for growth, hungry for change, hungry for insights, revelation, and knowledge. Whatever you need in your life, you will receive it today. For the past 20 years, Myrna has been an entrepreneur. As past CEO of Royal Livery Limousine Service and now CEO of My Helps Coaching and Consulting Services, Myrna has achieved good success. Awarded Entrepreneur of the Year, Myrna knows what it takes to help you be successful. Myrna helps her coaching clients to design a practical plan to close the gap of where they are today and where they would like to be tomorrow. In business, relationships, health, or career goals. That is why Myrna is offering a free 1-hour strategy session valued at $150, totally free. No strings attached. If you are listening right now, go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us and sign up now for a free session with Coach Myrna. She has helped business owners and other clients just like you overcome their obstacles and set them on a path to success. Take advantage of this offer today. Go to www.myrnayounghelps.com/contact.us right now.
Welcome back to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show. I'm your host, Coach Myrna Young, and today we have been speaking to a very inspiring woman who has led us through her journey, and now she is totally an inspiration to anyone that has a story. We all go through challenges. We've all been caught in the net like fish, and some of us stink to the bottom and some of us right to the top. And Ms. Aireka, she has risen to the top, and now she has a message that she hopes to inspire other women. So as we wrap up our show today, I know you said that you had some books that you wanted to share with our audience of how that can help them in their quest to finding their beauty in the now. So go ahead. What are they?
Well, it was just one book that I recommend that actually helped me, and the reason why, and it kind of ties into your tip. So, like at the beginning, the man was talking to God. And I don't know if you've read this book, Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. Have you read that?
No. Wow.
So,
I study Napoleon Hill, but the Think and Grow Rich one. And I didn't even know he had another book. What's it called? Outwitting the Devil?
It's called Outwitting the Devil. And I read Think and Grow Rich as well, and that helps me with my entrepreneurial spirit. But where my healing and my complete understanding of what was going on in my mind came from this book. And basically, the book has been in hiding for 72 years. Basically, Napoleon says, hey, he meditated for a month, and during his meditation, he was able to have a conversation with the devil, and where the devil shared his secrets of how he controls the minds of humans through drifting.
I have to read that.
Yes, it is a powerful book. Yes, and so in the book, Napoleon says that the devil told him, I'm going to make sure this book doesn't see the light of day. So his wife locked it up, and they're just releasing this book. But basically, one of the secrets that Napoleon gets out of the devil is that he keeps the human mind in fear and worry. And he has them thinking that he has them on autopilot. He has them going to church every day. But while they're in church and repetitiously saying things, their minds are focused on those things that the enemy has a stronghold on their mind. They're worried about their bills. They're worried about what their child, is doing. They're worried about, they're scared of stepping out on faith. They're actually dealing, with the fear. They're worried about tomorrow. And so basically the devil uses those strongholds on our minds to keep us drifting is what he calls it. If that's not like a ship without a sail. We're just drifting because we're not using those talents that God put in us. So he created us. And one thing that I always say, he created us with three main things. We all have a mind, we all have a heart, and we all have a purpose. And all three work to the glory of him. And there's not one person, not one being that's going to come to this earth without one of those things. And the devil knows that, and so he tries to get to one of the main things that God uses to drive our purpose here on earth and gets a stronghold on that. And that's basically what the book is talking about. But the reason why I say that someone that's just starting out to read that book is because you'll be able to see yourself in that book. We read a lot of books, and it's kind of hard to see what they're talking about. This book, there's no way you can't see what you're dealing with in that book and how the devil has your mind. And then you can say, oh, okay, hold on. Like today, I just kind of laughed at him because I saw everything that he was trying to throw at me.
That's what I just said. The enemy, he tried to not make you have this recording, and the only reason is because it's on your purpose. It's going to do something for somebody that he wants to keep in bondage. And we just came through Good Friday and all that, and I spent all day looking at Exodus and the Ten Commandments and the story of Jesus and all that. And there is one thing, actually it's one that I've never seen before, and that is the story of young Jesus. The movie was until, I think he was 12 or something. But throughout the whole movie, everybody was after him. Of course we know that Pharaoh tried to kill the babies because they heard about Jesus. Then the Romans were looking for him, and his parents had to run. And even when he was in his father's house, they were looking for him, and the devil was after him. So that made me say that whenever, and this is something that anybody is listening to, should actually adopt and stand on. So whenever the devil is throwing things at you, or whenever people are trying to bring you down and bury you, it's because they're trying to keep you from your purpose. Now, the reason everybody was after baby Jesus, or, the young Messiah, is because they know what he was supposed to do. They wanted to kill him. So, and the devil was in his head and sending people after him and whatever. And there's one time he tried to strangle him, and he says, "Take your hands off of me. Don't ever touch me again." And that's what God says that you need to tell the devil. Get behind me, Satan. You know what I mean? You have no control. You are not running the show. I can defeat you.
That's right.
And I will definitely read that book.
Yes, absolutely. And the great thing about it is what you talk about. In the book, Napoleon says, the devil basically says, you're not afraid of me, so I have to answer your questions. I have to do what you tell me to do because you're not afraid of me, and I have no control over your mind. And that, like, he couldn't stop today. He couldn't because he has no control over my mind. And I can see him in action, and I can just look at him and say, you're such a fool.
Get behind that, Satan.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So, again, I look at it, and it's all about how you look at things. I study a lot of people, and one I think is Dwayne Dwyer or somebody with the power of attention, or even Deepak Chopra. One of them says that nothing is real until you observe it. So, I mean, if you observe that, the devil is trying to stop you from your purpose, then you will even be strengthened. But if you look at it like you looked at it at one point in time, that you wanted to die, that he's winning, that you need to give up, because that's where he wants to keep you. You know what I mean?
Right.
So once you change your perception and once you observe it, then it becomes powerful. Nothing is real until you have observed it or acknowledged it. So.
Yeah, and that goes back to the point of power. Is your best point of power is in the here and now. It's in your now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Perfect way to end. All right. So I absolutely enjoyed talking to you. You said this was your first radio broadcast or first radio interview, and you did fabulously well. And I told you you will do fabulously well because you're sharing a story, you're sharing a passion, you're sharing a purpose. And God has put words in your mouth, and it was able to come out clearly, succinctly, and I'm sure that people were encouraged. So I thank you so much for your selfless dedication to helping other people, get through the dark times, and, God will bless you in return. All right, so let's tell our audience how they can get in touch with you. I know you've got a couple of things that are happening in your blog and your website, so how can they get in touch with you?
So I have the Be That Woman blog at www.bethatwoman.net. You can drop a message in either my Facebook group, which is Be That Woman, or my Facebook fan page, which is Be That Woman as well. And my Instagram is B.In.That.Woman.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So it's not very hard to remember, Be That Woman.
Right.
And even if they search and just Be That Woman, everything else will come up. So that is great. And what can we add to that? Be That Woman what? What are we wanting them to be?
We're wanting them to be the woman that has complete mind control and understands the power of their now.
Beautiful. Yes. Let's make sure we let them know. Right. Excellent. Awesome. All right. Like I said, it was a pleasure talking to you. Our audience, thank you for tuning in to the Mindset Transformation Radio Show. I want to say a special thank you to my guest today who taught us how to find beauty in your now. The present has always been a place that I like to stay, since I mentioned that I took Eckhart Tolle's class several years back and read his book, Be Here Now. So it is another book. We've talked about several books. We talked about University of Success by Og Mandino. We talked about Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And was there another book? Now, right, Eckhart Tolle's book, Be Here Now. Now, one other thing I want you to do for me, if you like this content, I would love for you to share it. I would love for you to subscribe to my iTunes podcast and write a review. And if you do, then I have got a gift for you. Send me an email to info@myhelps.us with the subject line podcast review, and I will send you one of two gifts. You will choose my book, my ebook on how to become a life coach, which is filled with some amazing information about the journey, the schools that you can take, how do you get your certification, how you start your business, how you market it, things like that. Or I designed a mindset shift focus wheel workbook, because in order for you to grow, you have to have a growth mindset. If your mindset is fixed and you don't think that there's anywhere for you to go, then you wouldn't go. So there's some exercises that you can do to change your mindset from fixed to growth. So you can also ask me to send you that one. Now, finally, if you would like to contact me for any kind of personal coaching or to be a guest on the show, visit me on the web at www.myrnayounghelps.com. Any final words, Aireka?
Also wanted to say that I am as well starting a 30-day mindset boot camp on Instagram, and if you want to be a part of the boot camp, just send me a DM message on Instagram. Again, that's B.That and that woman for Instagram, and that starts in June 1st to June 30th.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, once again, thanks for being on the show. Thank you for tuning in, and namaste.